G'day, Mike from Aussie Mike's Bees. Once again, doing a cutout from a house, and in this place behind me, in this little add-on room, it's a laundry that's been added on to an old brick building here. There's bees in that gap filling up the cavity in this side. I'll take you inside and I'll show you the thermal image of that and how we're going to get about it. So we're inside the laundry now, and this is the inside wall in this corner. As you can see from the thermal image there, a lot of bees. Filled up pretty much that cavity from stud to stud where they were entering from outside. If we go down below the noggin, you can see they're not down there, but that heat signature you're seeing now is water pipes. So pretty confident they're not below the noggin, and they haven't gone into the stud next to it. So it should be just one panel. So we'll get on with it. What I'm seeing here is a nice bit of comb, capped brood there, beautifully laid. They've skipped over into this next cavity with new comb here, which is looking good. That looks like honey. I've just cut off this one, but a lot of drone there, so it'll be interesting to see what I find in the rest of it. Just try to get the rest of that panel off, I suppose, there, light up, and keep the eye out for the queen as usual. Okay, this is what's left. Cut all the comb out, vacuumed bees as much as I could. Bit of a disaster area left with a few bees. Dead bees around the floor and crawling. What I've done is taken the screen off the window so that they'll be drawn to outside. If they put the screen back on when it's dark, that should have multiple or most of the bees out by then. I'll just take you outside to show you the bees that are on the outside of the wall. I've vacuumed up as many of those as I could to. I've got a really full bucket. And the ones in the box that I framed up seem to be hanging around, so things might go well there. We'll see when I get them home. So come on outside and we'll have a quick look at the outside wall and then we'll head off. There's that window. You can see there's some cord in between the sliding glass and the fixed glass. They might find their way out, but really don't have time to get all of those. And this is the outside. I vacuumed up. There was a fairly large cluster and they're just sort of going in that gap. That was where they could get in. I can't easily seal that. They need a couple of tubes of silicone or some sort of flashing over that to seal it. And I've talked to the owner about sealing that up. So the father's going to come around and fix the wall and hopefully put a bit of flashing on the outside there as well. And that should resolve any future issues. So we'll get on back home and get them boxed up. And I'll get those bees in the bucket into the box and give them a chance of surviving. So I've got that little colony from the laundry wall back home. I've put them into a new box. I framed them up on the spot and that worked out pretty well because all the bees that went with them stayed put, which worked out pretty good. All I did this time was just open up that vacuum bucket, gave a little gentle shake and put the bees right in front of the new hive, figuring that the brood will get them in. I don't know if I got the queen. I never spotted her. It was a bit, she had so many places to hide. I don't know. And I didn't get a lot of bees hanging around the exhaust port on the vacuum, which was my usual signal that she's in the vacuum. So I don't know how that'll go. I did manage to save a lot of, I think, it might have been 5 frames of brood, which was doing pretty good. I also got a ton of honeycomb. I'm just squeezing that out, my crowded little honey room at the moment. So I've just got an olive press or a fruit press, but it's the same thing. You just keep winding on it and the honey squeezes out and into the bucket. I don't bother straining honey because it gets clogged up. So what I do is just leave it for a couple of weeks to settle and all of the solids and bits and pieces just float to the top and then I just skim it off and I find usually nice clean honey. I use the settling method rather than straining because what I find if you put it through the strainer, all that muck, especially the double strainers that you get, it just clogs it up and it lands up taking forever to get it all through. And I get frustrated with that. I mean, who's got time? And the longer the time's exposed like that, especially on a day like today, it's pretty humid. Like we're midsummer and it's mid-30s Celsius, so I guess up around 90 Fahrenheit, and pretty humid. We've had so much rain, so I don't want the honey soaking up water. I've got to do everything fast. That's why I don't strain it. I just put it in and then I put the lid on it and let it settle for a couple of weeks or a few weeks. Then I skim it off and then I will throw it in that heated tank and that further separates out. I'll pump from that or I could just directly fill jars if I've only got a small amount. I only use this fruit press when it's just one colony. Usually if I've got a really huge cutout and there's loads and loads of honey or I'm doing extracting, and I'll only extract at least 10 boxes these days and I don't want to just do 1 or 2 boxes at a time. So in that process I've got my 24 frame extractor, but I've got the wax extruder that I put all the cappings and any cutout wax in, and that does a brilliant job. I get nice dry wax out of it and pretty clean honey. I'll whack that through the same process. I mean, I put it through a heated honey sump and that separates out the wax as well, and then just pump it into the settling tanks as well. That's where we're at with that little cutout. Sorry for the ramble. You know, the honey just keeps dripping out of that little press. I'll probably get 10 or 15 kilos of honey out of that one. It's not a bad one. That colony only moved in at the beginning of spring. I think they called me out, might have been October, and it's been so wet ever since. I've not been able to get back to do the job. And finally I thought, every week it's raining, so I figure today it was meant to be raining. But it turned out to be sunny. I'll just get in there and do it. Otherwise it's going to be winter and I won't be able to do a thing. So we're already halfway through summer and the end of the season's on its way. Mind you, we've got eucalyptus getting ready to flower. So we're in for a really big honey flow. I mean, it's been non-stop honey flow all summer. I just keep adding boxes because I just haven't had time to harvest yet. So I'm in for a big day of harvesting when it finally does happen. I'll probably wait until after this eucalyptus honey flow because I love eucalyptus honey. It's so good. Thanks for watching again. If you like, thumbs up and subscribe. Brilliant. And see you next time. Cheers.